Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. After allegedly intentionally driving his car into another car on Old Woman Springs Road, a man was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder and DUI. On February 6th at around 10 p.m., California Highway Patrol officers were flagged down by the victims of the incident on Old Woman Springs Road near Boone Road. The CHP officers were working the King of the Hammers event, but the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office said that the attack was unrelated to the event. The suspect, identified in county records as Jeremiah Nichols, 49, is accused of intentionally driving his vehicle into another vehicle on Old Woman Springs Road. The CHP did not respond to a request for additional details about the collision. The DA's office said that Nichols used his vehicle as a weapon, injuring at least 2 people. The DA's office said the victims were not hospitalized. Nichols was taken into custody by CHP officers, and county records show he was driving under the influence and with a suspended license. Jeremiah Nichols is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $2 million bail. He was arraigned in San Bernardino County Superior Court on Friday on 2 charges of attempted murder and misdemeanor charges of DUI and driving on a suspended license. He pled not guilty to all charges. The Morongo Unified School District's Enrollment Committee meets in open public session tomorrow evening. The committee is part of the school district's ongoing effort to make long-term plans regarding declining enrollment. The committee is meeting throughout the spring of 2026 to consider facility upgrades, school consolidations, and large-scale programmatic adjustments. At their meeting, the committee will receive a presentation about district growth and upgraded demographics. They will also receive and review an assessment of current school district facilities. The MUSD Enrollment Committee meets tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Joshua Tree Professional Development at 6061 Sunburst Street in Joshua Tree. You can find a link to the agenda at this story at our website, Z107.7 FM.com. The High Desert Water District Board of Directors meets in regular session tomorrow to consider a charge for a water reclamation facility. They will also consider amending their compensation package to remove reference to the now dissolved Mojave Water Agency Morongo Basin Pipeline Commission. The High Desert Water District Board of Directors meets tomorrow at 4 p.m. at their office at 55439 29 Palms Highway in Yucca Valley. You can find a link to their agenda as well as a way to attend online at this story at Z107.7 FM.com. The Joshua Basin Water District Board of Directors meets tomorrow to consider appointments to their Citizens Advisory Council. They will also consider a bid to recode a reservoir at a cost of just under $35,000. They meet tomorrow and Wednesday at 5 p.m. at their office at 61750 Choita Road in Joshua Tree. You can find a link to their agenda as well as a way to attend online at this story at Z107.7 FM.com. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, commonly referred to as ICE, has been at the forefront of President Donald Trump's campaign to crack down on illegal immigration in the United States. As these enforcement operations have intensified across the nation, thousands of people have been apprehended and moved into detention facilities while they work through the legal process that will ultimately determine whether they can remain in the country. Amongst those detained for many reasons are asylum seekers, people who not only came to the United States to seek a better life, but also to escape a dangerous situation in the country they fled from. Reporter Adeline J. Wells has been following one such asylum seeker as she navigates the process, along with help from some residents of the Morongo Basin, and she picks up the story from here.
Rocio Bohili Mokara, who will be referred to in this story by her first name, Rocio, is a native of Equatorial Guinea who is living in Yucca Valley while navigating the asylum process in the United States. In July 2024, Rocio fled her home country due to political persecution by the corrupt Mbasogo regime, which has long faced accusations of human rights violations and political violence. The government had murdered her husband and violently beat her to the point of hospitalization, inflicting injuries to her knee that she is still in the process of recovering from. On November 18th, Rocio returned to court for a master hearing on her asylum case. Her journey to the United States and asylum application stemmed from her fear of torture and persecution in Equatorial Guinea. Several officials throughout her time in detention accepted her credible fear interview as tenable. Despite this, immigration judge Andrew Fishkin denied her asylum application and ordered her deportation. According to eyewitness testimony, Judge Fishkin had said throughout Rosillo's court proceedings that he found her testimony credible. However, the prosecution insisted that documentary evidence needs to be obtained from Equatorial Guinea. According to Rosillo, evidence such as the medical records from her assault and her husband's death certificate are unattainable because the government that holds those records is also the reason they exist in the first place. Rosillo filed an appeal to Judge Fishkin's decision on November 27th, citing a legal precedent that says applicants must provide documentary evidence unless they cannot reasonably obtain the evidence. There is also a legal precedent for asylum cases to be made on credible testimony, as Rosillo's has been found several times. Further, Rosillo stated that her life would be in peril should she return to Equatorial Guinea due to her outspoken stance on the government, their documented human rights abuses, and the threats that followed her throughout her journey to the United States. Rosillo is currently awaiting the appeal process at Eloy Detention Center in Arizona, where she has been detained since her apprehension at a court appointment in July of last year. On January 14th, Rosillo was told she would receive surgery to repair her right knee and was transported to a hospital in Phoenix. The knee had sustained years of traumatic injury. It required hospitalization after her assault by police in Equatorial Guinea, was re-injured after falling down a rocky cliff during her crossing of the Darien Gap, and has been re-injured while in detention at Eloy. Upon her arrival at the hospital, Rosillo learned that the surgery had been canceled due to an unexpected illness of the surgeon. She has yet to receive word on when or if the surgery will be rescheduled. A group of local women has organized around Rosillo's case since her detention in July and continues to work on her behalf. In addition to helping her file the appeal, the group has contacted her family for documents and assisted in writing the brief rebutting Judge Fishkin's decision. Among their arguments is that there is legal precedent for asylum decisions to be based solely on credible testimony of the applicant, especially when reliable documents are not available. They have reached out to elected representatives for assistance on Rosillo's case. Further, the group is pursuing an appeal on her bond hearing from August 5th. The judge denied the request for bond due to a lack of jurisdiction related to the Trump administration's restriction on bond for detainees. Dana Balicki, a Morongo Basin resident and member of the group, shed light on the challenges shared not only by Rosillo, but also by other asylum seekers currently in detention.
A lot of people don't have the level of support that Rosillo has. A whole team of volunteers that have been spending a lot of time and energy and then raising funds, hiring a lawyer. We are working so hard, even with the established credible fear, even with everything in Rosillo's favor. We're still running up against walls and limitations all the time. It's so devastating to see how the system is really so difficult to navigate and so unclear, and how much resource it takes just to move one person through the system.
For our previous reporting on Rosillo's case, please visit this story on our website at Z107.7 Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The Creative Cafe continues this week with an eye towards the Western Joshua Tree. The Creative Cafe is a weekly drop-in art session hosted by local artist Jillian Sandell. She sets up a different creative activity each week. This week, she's encouraging participants to practice drawing the trees that dot our landscape. She says she will bring in a lot of different reference images of Joshua trees to look at, including photos and stylized renditions. Wednesday's Creative Cafe is from noon to 2 p.m. at the Food for Thought Cafe at the Joshua Tree Retreat Center. And finally, there are currently an estimated 55 million people worldwide living with dementia, and a new community dementia support group in Yucca Valley aims to provide resources to those affected by dementia and memory issues. Online news editor Robert Hayden has more.
Beginning tomorrow and continuing on the third Wednesday of every month, the High Desert Memory Support Group is looking to get the word out about a safe, supportive space for those affected by dementia. Amber Legowski is a dementia care professional based in the Morongo Basin, and she says that adult-focused memory care is limited here in the High Desert, and her goal with the support group is to allow a space for asking questions, sharing experiences, venting, and connecting with others. The group is open to caregivers, family members of those affected, or anyone who is seeking a better understanding of the aging brain and our cognitive health. The group's first meeting is this Wednesday, February 18th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. It's going to be at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Yucca Valley, located at 8035 Church Street. To sign up or get more information, you can contact Amber at her phone number 951-220-5766. We'll have that number and a flyer at this story on our website, Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmetz.